GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Montreal. I'm CJ Waterhouse. Our top story today, a school board mistakenly sent parents' personal data in a mass email. We'll also see how the city is tackling post-moving day trash buildup on the streets. Traffic is steady overall, though minor road closures affect a few neighborhoods. Over to you, Jeff.
This Saturday, Parc Lafontaine will host the annual Montreal Jazz in the Park series, showcasing 3 local jazz ensembles with free admission for all ages.
Families can enjoy the music from noon until dusk, while a curated food truck lineup offers poutine, crepes, and fresh salads beside the lake.
Earlier in the day, a complimentary outdoor yoga session will be held near the park's north entrance, led by a local instructor at 10 a.m.
Parking is available at the nearby metro station, and with the stage set, the melodies are ready to roll. Lots to get to. Let's begin. Good morning, Montreal.
Yesterday, the Sir Wilfrid Laurier School Board sent an email to parents of Rossmere High School students that included an attachment listing names, phone numbers, and email addresses, exposing private information. The board, which oversees several schools in the Montreal area, acknowledged the mistake and said it is investigating how the data was attached. Parents were warned to monitor their accounts for any unusual activity. The email was dispatched on July 2nd, and the board said it will notify each affected family. It also confirmed the Provincial Privacy Commissioner has been informed and an internal audit will commence. The board has pledged to review its communication procedures to prevent a recurrence. No evidence of misuse has been reported so far, but the incident has raised concerns about data handling practices within the district.
City crews are racing to clear the growing piles of discarded furniture, boxes, and junk that have spilled onto the streets since the July 1st moving day. Officials say the surge of unwanted items overwhelms regular collection routes, prompting an emergency deployment of extra trucks and portable bins in neighborhoods most affected. Residents are being urged to bring waste to designated drop-off points set up at community centers and schools, while a temporary curbside service operates on a 2-day schedule in the most congested districts. The city's sanitation department will continue to monitor hotspots through the week, adjusting routes as needed to prevent blockages and health hazards. This coordinated response aims to restore order and keep the streets safe as families complete their relocations across the island. Police will also increase patrols near busy avenues to deter illegal dumping.
Severe thunderstorms rolled across the province Friday morning, crippling the power grid and leaving more than 51,000 households without electricity, Hydro-Quebec confirmed. The violent storm sparked down lines and damaged substations, prompting crews to mobilize across affected regions. Restoration efforts are underway, but officials warn that service could remain interrupted for several hours as repair teams assess the extent of the damage. Customers in both rural and urban areas have reported extended outages, and the utility has activated emergency protocols to prioritize critical infrastructure. Hydro-Quebec urges those without power to conserve any remaining battery charge and to stay tuned for updates as crews continue working to restore service throughout the day. In the Plateau and East End, residents saw lights flicker before the outage. Emergency shelters opened in community centers, and Hydro-Quebec says full restoration may not occur until evening.
After a day on the water, a couple from the province is set to learn they have hit the 40 million Lotto Max jackpot. Officials say the winning ticket was purchased before the pair headed out for a fishing trip, and the numbers were drawn earlier this week. The couple will receive the prize once the ticket is verified, and they plan to keep the win private until they can arrange a meeting with Lotto Max representatives. The National Lottery, which periodically rolls out multi-million-dollar jackpots, has already announced the payout details and the process for claiming the prize. If everything proceeds as expected, the couple will become the latest recipients of a record-size win, adding to the list of Canadians whose fortunes have changed overnight. Friends and family are awaiting the announcement, hoping to share in the celebration.
Environment Canada issued severe thunderstorm watches Thursday morning for multiple regions across the province. The watches cover areas from the western suburbs of the island to the eastern stretches of the Laurentians, as well as portions of the St. Lawrence lowlands. Meteorologists indicated that the watches are intended to alert residents to the possibility of damaging winds, large hail, and isolated tornadoes. The agency emphasized that the watches are not guarantees of storms, but rather a precautionary measure to allow people to secure outdoor objects and remain vigilant for rapidly changing conditions. Local emergency services have been briefed and are prepared to respond to any incidents that may develop. Residents are advised to monitor updates from Environment Canada and follow any advisories that may be issued later in the day.
Later, we'll hear how the RCMP arrested two after a raid on a suspected migrant smuggling house in Montreal. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. Our headlines just wrapped, and now Jeff Laflamme will guide us through the most compelling local stories of today.
Thursday's violent thunderstorms swept across the province, unleashing wind gusts that peaked at roughly 120 kilometers per hour. The ferocious blasts ripped tree branches from sidewalks, snapped power lines, and sent roof tiles tumbling from houses. Several neighborhoods reported down telephone poles that left thousands without service for hours, while motorists faced sudden loss of control on exposed roadways. Municipal crews spent the night clearing debris and restoring electricity, a task complicated by scattered damage to water mains and street lighting. Insurers flagged a surge in early claims as homeowners documented shattered windows and water intrusion damage. Meteorologists traced the extreme winds to a rapidly deepening low-pressure system that intensified the storms. The province's Emergency Coordination Center remains on alert, monitoring any lingering hazards as cleanup continues. Utility companies reported that some rural sectors may experience intermittent outages into the weekend.
The Quebec government approved a temporary expansion of the Terrebonne landfill on July 2nd, allowing higher garbage piles at the province's largest waste site north of Montreal. Officials said the move is an emergency measure because the facility is expected to hit its maximum capacity within the next 12 months. The expansion will remain in place for a period of 1 year, giving authorities time to develop longer-term solutions for waste management. Critics have warned that the increased volume could strain nearby roads and raise environmental concerns, while industry groups argue the step is necessary to avoid a sudden shortage of disposal space. The decision follows months of monitoring that showed the site nearing full capacity faster than anticipated, prompting the rapid approval. Nearby residents have been advised to watch for possible traffic slowdowns and to report any unusual odors to local authorities.
Yesterday, officers from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police executed a raid on a residential property in Montreal that had been identified as a possible hub for migrant smuggling. The operation resulted in the detention of 2 individuals suspected of facilitating illegal movement of people across the border. Police said the house had been under surveillance for several weeks, as part of a broader investigation into organized smuggling networks operating in the region. Investigators collected evidence during the search, including documents and electronic devices, which will be examined to determine the extent of the operation. The arrests mark a significant step in addressing the illicit activity that has raised concerns among local residents and authorities alike. No further details about the identities of those detained have been released at this time.
Yesterday, the Canadians secured their rising star between the pipes, signing goaltender Jacob Daubis to a 3-year extension. The 25-year-old netminder who stepped into the starting role during the 2025-26 campaign will now remain in Montreal through the 2028-29 season. Daubis' performance last year earned him the trust of the coaching staff and fans alike, as he posted solid numbers and helped steady the defensive unit. The club announced the deal at its downtown arena, emphasizing the desire to build continuity in the crease. Fans in the stands cheered as the news echoed through the building, and local sports analysts said keeping Daubis gives the team a stable foundation for a deeper playoff push. With the contract locked in, the organization can focus on shaping the roster around a dependable last line of defense as the next season approaches.
71 households remain in a downtown hotel in Montreal after recent relocations left them without permanent residences, city officials said Thursday night. Mayor Soraya Martinez Ferrada confirmed the municipality is using the hotel as a stopgap while it confronts a sharp rise in housing demand. The temporary arrangement gives each family a private room and basic amenities, though officials admit it is not a long-term fix. City housing services are working with social agencies to locate available apartments, but the shortage of affordable units remains a bottleneck. The council has earmarked funds to accelerate conversion of vacant buildings into affordable units before year-end. Officials will update the public at the next quarterly housing review. The mayor added that the city will continuously monitor occupancy levels and adjust the shelter plan as more permanent housing becomes available.
Now let's turn to the weather for a quick look at this afternoon's conditions. A westward jet streak and a slipping pressure field keep Montreal dry, yet primed for a warm surge. Montreal's all-time heat mark sits at 32.6 degrees, set in 2018 during an unprecedented July heat wave that pushed the city into the upper 30s for several days. The cold extreme is 12.7 degrees, recorded in 2015,
when a polar air mass slipped south behind a stalled front, dropping temperatures well below the usual summer night lows. Normal highs for today hover around 29 degrees with lows near 20, so today sits comfortably between those historic benchmarks. On the live radar, the screen is almost blank, with only a faint echo over the northern Laurentians drifting eastward. The lack of return echoes confirms a dry, stable air mass anchored by a high-pressure ridge that is slowly eroding but still suppressing lift. With the westward jet streak riding above at roughly 94 kilometers per hour, any moisture would be sheared out before reaching the island, so we stay clear through the afternoon. At noon, Montreal feels warm and clear with a temperature of 29 degrees, humidity hovering around 70%, and a gentle west wind at 13 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 28. A near-average pressure field is easing lower, signaling a gradual loosening of the ridge that has kept the sky bright. Overhead, the jet stream streams westward at 94 kilometers per hour, reinforcing the dry air and discouraging any convective development. The UV index stands at 7, and the maximum wind will reach 23 kilometers per hour from the west later this afternoon. No rain is expected, and the heat warning that covers the greater Montreal area remains in force, reminding residents to stay hydrated. Temperatures will climb to a high of 31 degrees before dipping to 20 degrees after sunset, with clear skies persisting into the evening. The 5-day outlook stays under the same westerly jet, keeping most days dry. Saturday offers a high of 27 and a low of 17 with clear skies as the ridge rebuilds. Sunday turns overcast, high 29, low 19, as a weak cold front slides in from the north. Monday repeats the overcast pattern, holding at 29 high and 19 low, while the front stalls east of the province. Tuesday clears, delivering a high of 29 and a low of 20. Wednesday ends the stretch with a high of 30, low 20, clouds returning as the jet dips slightly, hinting at a cooler night. Overall, the swing stays within 10 degrees, with mid-week cloudiness providing brief relief. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Amazon Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll check on road closures across neighborhoods, break down Otto's Koivu's season, and preview MTY Food Group's Q2 results. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Two sections of Avenue Kelvin are closed to traffic, one in Outremont and another in Côte des Neiges, Notre Dame de Grace for sewer replacement that runs through the end of the week. Drivers heading east on Boulevard St. Laurent or north on Rue Shair should detour onto Avenue du Parc, then left on Rue St. Denis to rejoin Kelvin. The detour adds roughly 5 minutes to a normal 10-minute trip, so allow a little extra time for appointments. Rue Alexandre de Sèvres between Boulevard de Maisonneuve Est and Rue Logan in Ville-Marie is also closed for a streetscape renewal expected to finish by Thursday. Through traffic is redirected onto Rue St. Laurent, then a right onto Rue de la Commune, adding 3 to 4 minutes of delay. Elsewhere the network moves freely. Rue St. Laurent, Boulevard de Maisonneuve, Rue Peel, the Descartes and Autoroute 15 report normal speeds. This afternoon should see steady flow on the autoroutes with the usual lunchtime build-up near downtown. Metro lines run on schedule.
Weird Al Yankovic will headline a free outdoor show at Place des Festivals for Just for Laughs on July 25, giving you a chance to enjoy the king of parody under the summer sky. Fans of clever lyrics and a lively crowd won't want to miss this family-friendly concert. Cirque du Soleil's Echo behind-the-scenes exhibition is on now at Time Out Market Montreal, offering rare photos that reveal the artistry behind the spectacular acts you love. It's a free peek for Big Top fans while you grab a bite. The Les Premiers Vendredi Street Food Festival rolls through the city this weekend, delivering a globe-spanning bite-sized adventure of flavors, live music, and cultural flair. From vegan tacos to classic poutine, each stall promises something new, and the street vibe keeps Montreal buzzing. That's the pulse of the city today: music, magic, and mouth-watering moments, so get out there and make the most of it. And now here's Jason with sports.
Here's the latest on our Canadiens prospects and goaltending outlook. Evaluating Otto's Koivu's 2025-26 campaign proves tricky, not for his individual play, but because TPS Turku has been mired in turmoil on and off the ice. Coach Tony Soderholm's new system adds further variables, leaving the Montreal Canadiens prospects grade in question. Alexander Zhuravsky says he aims to be fully prepared when his KHL contract concludes at the end of the upcoming season, targeting a debut in 2027-28 with the Canadiens. He stresses readiness over timing, echoing the organization's long-term planning. Jacob Dobies emphasizes that his new contract's financial terms are secondary to his goal of re-establishing himself as a reliable netminder and helping the Canadiens capture victories. After a strong playoff run, he remains focused on performance rather than paycheck considerations.
MTY Food Group, based in Ville-Marie, is a Montreal-born powerhouse that franchises quick-service restaurants from tacos to coffee shops across North America. The company announced a conference call on July 10, 2026 to present its second quarter 2026 financial results, a milestone that underscores its steady expansion. Those numbers translate into new locations, more jobs, and a continued partnership with local suppliers who stock fresh produce and bakery goods. For neighborhoods like the downtown core, MTY's growth fuels the vibrancy of street-level dining and keeps the city's culinary scene competitive. It matters because every bite from an MTY brand carries a piece of Montreal's entrepreneurial spirit. That shared success strengthens the fabric of our community. And stay tuned for a heartwarming win as a Quebec couple reels in a 40 million Lotto Max jackpot after a fishing trip.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMNA for the local Sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Thousands of Canadians have packed Grand Quay in Montreal's Old Port for a vibrant Canada Day celebration, with live music, food stalls, and fireworks lighting the sky. The energy is electric as families and friends gather to honor the nation. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks CJ Waterhouse. The scent of fresh crepes mingles with salty river air as I stand on the bustling Grand Quay, the St. Lawrence glistening behind a sea of red and white. Families spread picnic blankets beside the historic warehouses, while a stage thrums with a folk band, their guitars echoing across the waterfront. Food trucks line the promenade, offering poutine, smoked salmon sliders, and maple-glazed donuts, each line a moving queue of smiling faces. Children chase bubbles near the historic clock tower, and a group of seniors wave miniature flags, their eyes bright with pride. The crowd swells to thousands, each person holding a maple leaf pin, the city's skyline framed by fireworks that will soon explode overhead. Under the banner in Montreal, Canada comes together in motion. The day feels like a living tapestry of cultures, a single heartbeat of community. For many, this celebration is more than a holiday, it's a shared moment of belonging under the maple leaf. Carl Dumont virtually at Grand Quay.
The streets of the Plateau are humming again as the Afro-Monde Festival rolls into its fourth day of music and food, a tradition that has brightened Montreal for 18 consecutive summers. Families gather on St. Laurent Boulevard, blankets spread under the late summer sun, while the scent of spiced jollof rice mingles with fresh baked croissants from a local bakery set up beside the stage. On the main platform, a young Senegalese violinist named Aisha lifts her bow, and the notes ripple through the crowd, drawing an elderly couple from the nearby cafe to sway together after a lifetime of quiet evenings. Across the street, a food truck crew from Haiti serves peppery griot, and a shy teenager pauses, eyes wide, tasting the flavors that echo stories from his grandparents' homeland. The moment that caps the day arrives as the sun dips behind Mount Royal, and a chorus of voices, French, English, Arabic, Lingala, join in a spontaneous rendition of One Love, reminding everyone that music and cuisine can stitch together a city's many threads. It's a simple, powerful reminder that community thrives when we share our cultures, one song and one plate at a time.
On a crisp Thursday morning in the Plateau Mont Royal, a modest brick building on St. Laurent watched a quiet drama unfold. Tenants from the third-floor studio, a young artist collective, gathered on the fire-escaped balcony, coffee steaming as they chatted about upcoming exhibitions. Across the street, the landlord Monsieur Bouchard stood by his office window, eyeing the empty apartments that have lingered vacant for months despite a city-wide surplus of roughly 25,000 units. What could have been another day of stagnant rents took a turn when a neighbor's child, chasing a wayward pigeon, knocked over a potted rosemary plant onto the hallway floor. The simple incident sparked a conversation. The landlord, recalling his own modest upbringing in Verdun, offered to lower the rent on 3 vacant units to accommodate the artist collective, allowing them to keep their studio space and continue their community workshops. The moment the lease was signed, a ripple of gratitude spread through the building, and the collective's next open house promised free art classes for local youth. It's a reminder that even in a market of high numbers, a single decision can warm a neighborhood.
Thanks for joining us, Montreal. Tonight's storm-related power outage reminded us how quickly nature can test our resilience, and we're grateful for your community spirit. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Stay safe, stay curious, and see you bright and early.